welcome back to Learning Music with Pat. Today I'm going to be talking to you about sharps and flats in the various keys, the major keys and the minor keys, and how you can tell the difference in what they actually are. But before I do that, I want to show you this instrument that I have never had here before. This is a Keene. Now, if you remember, the last time I did a taping, I showed you the smallest harmonica ever made, and it played a whole chord in the key of C in perfect pitch. Well, this is an entirely different type of instrument, but it does play chords. Not like the harmonica exactly, but it's considered to be the precursor of both the harmonica and the accordion. It is one of the first, the world's first pre-reeded or free-reeded instruments. So this is a free reed. It has about 18 tubes, and every tube has a reed in it. And instead of having a wooden reed, it has a metal reed. And you can see as you take a look at it, there is a place to blow into it, which is right here toward the lower part of the instrument. And then you, you have holes, finger holes here on each side, and then you have a finger hole on each set of this. These are in sets. These tubes are arranged in sets. So you have separate finger holes for each set, and they're bound together. The pitch holds them together as they go through this centerpiece, and also they're bound together by bamboo, being tied by pieces of bamboo. The interesting thing about this is this age. These instruments were built in the 1600 BC, and also the way that it sounds. It plays in chords. You cannot play traditional Western music with it, but let me play it so you get a chance to see what it sounds like. That's one single note. Most of the time it plays chords. Now it's not playing at all. That's what you usually get. And as you move your fingers around these tone holes, you get different types of chorded sounds to it. It sounds like a train whistle in the distance. But this is what it is. It is a Keene, very old instrument. I thought I would bring it in for you to see it and see what it's like. You rarely see them. You absolutely rarely see them. But they're a nice little instrument. Now let me go ahead and start showing you about the keys. We know that we have minor keys, we have major keys, we know that we have flats, and we have sharps. So what I've done is I have made some little drawings for you to see, starting with the flats first. If you have an instrument and you're playing in the key of F, you're playing one flat. If you're playing in the key of B flat, you're playing in two flats. If you're playing in E flat, you're playing three flats. A flat is going to be four flats, D flat is going to be five, G flat is going to be six, and C flat is going to be seven flats. Now remember, an octave is just 8 notes, so you are flatting almost every note in an octave if you go to 7 flats. And if you do the sharps, if you're playing in the key of G, it's 1 sharp, the key of D is 2 sharps, the key of A is 3 sharps, the key of E is 4 sharps, the key of B is 5 sharps, F sharp is 6 sharps, and C sharp is 7 sharps. So here again, you can sharp or you can flat up to 7 notes. And when you do that, remember that every note that is that note is going to be flatted or sharp. Let me take this down for just a second here. If you're going to flatten the notes, I've color-coded this. Supposing you do the 7 flats, B, E, A, D, G, F, and C. Not only are those notes flatted, but their octaves are flatted. And I did not write the octaves in because it's confusing to see, but what I've done is I've color-coded it. This is a D, this is a D, this is a G, this is a G. So anything that's above an octave or below an octave is also flatted. Now, what you end up with is that you have flattened every white note in the keyboard. Or in this case well, let me go back just to show you more about the flats. What I did here is I took all of those flats and I showed what the octaves are. They're all, by the time you get to the last set of flats, which is 7 flats, you have flatted every note in the white keyboard. Well, look at this. It looks confusing. All those notes are flatted. And there are notes above and notes below that I didn't write in that are also flatted. Now, when you're doing it with the sharps, and let me just remove this. When you do it with the sharps, F is sharped. Then you add the C. Then you add the G, and so forth down the line. By the time you get through, you have sharped every note on the keyboard. All of the white notes are sharped on the keyboard. So you can end up with 7 sharps, or you can end up with 7 flats. Every flat and every sharp has a name. 1 sharp is the key of G. 2 sharps is the key of D. 3 sharps is the key of A. 4 sharps is the key of E. 5 sharps is the key of B. And then the key of F, you're going to have 6 sharps. And the key of C, you're going to have 7 sharps. That's an awful lot of sharps. So you can go, but if you're playing a scale, say you're playing a G scale, you would start the note on a G, but the F would be sharp. If you were playing in the key of D and you wanted to play a scale in D, then you're going to start it on D. Whatever the name of the key is, that's the lowest note of the scale that you're going to start on. So if I want to play the key of E, which is going to be 4 sharps, I start on the note E. If I'm going to play the key of F with the sharps, F sharps, I will start on F sharp. You title the key based upon what the lowest note of the scale is. Now, it does make a difference because we play in scales all the time. Here is the color-coded keyboard when you're doing sharps: F, C, G, D, A, E, B. And if you look at the color coding, every single white note of the keyboard is now sharped. So what happens to them? They become sharped to the black keys. Now, there is an interesting thing about B. If you sharp B, remember, sharps go a half a step up. If you sharp B, you're going to get C. If you sharp E, you're going to have F. You don't have a black key between E and F, and you don't have a black key between B and C. So a full step, if you're going from E to F, if you want a full step, you have to go from E to F sharp, because F is only a half step. Likewise, if you go down, if you're going from F to E, that's just a half step. If you want a full step, you'd have to go from F to E flat. Or if you're sharping D sharp, E flat. Remember, we went over the enharmonic notes last time. It's the same pitch. Whether it's a flat or a sharp just depends upon the key that your music is written in. If your music is written in sharps, you're going to have this be a sharp, D sharp. If your music is written in flats, this is going to be an E flat. It is whatever the music says that it is. So I did not, in this case, put in all of the octaves because it is confusing to look at. But when you look at a note and you see that it's sharped or flatted, whichever the case may be, every octave note, like the high F, the low F, is also, in this case, going to be sharp. These notes, a C above is going to be sharp, C below is going to be sharp, G below and above will be sharp. So in the end, you get all of the octaves being sharped as well. Now here are the scales. If you're going to play the scales, here is a scale in the key of C. If you look at the key signature, there's no flats and there's no sharps. You go all the way up, and if you have a flute or higher pitched instruments, you can get an octave above this. But what I did was just put down the basic scales and not the octaves because it's less confusing to see. C, key of C, no sharps, no flats. You just go up and down the scale, and there's nothing to hinder you. There's no accidental anywhere. When you get to the key of D, you're going to start the scale on the note D, and it could go up another octave, but I didn't put it in. D has two sharps. It's written in the key signature. The key of F, and here we're switching to flats, starts on F because the key starts in F. And you go up and down here, and it's one flat. The key of B flat is two flats, and it's written in the key signature, and you just go up and down. And here again, I didn't put in octaves, but those notes, I don't have to write a flat in front of that E. I don't have to write a flat in front of that B. Because it's already in the key signature, that flat or sharp, whatever you have in the key signature, is going to run throughout that entire scale without any extra markings. But if I wanted to change it and I wanted to add a sharp or a flat, I could do it by putting it right in front of the note. And that would be an accidental. And if you were writing music and you had measures, the accidental would go for one measure. So B flat is the two flats. G is one sharp, and you start on G, and that F is sharp in the key of G. You have one sharp. It happens to be F, and it's not marked because it's already in the key signature, and you'll notice that it is written in the place where the F will appear. You wouldn't say it's an F sharp and write a sharp anywhere. You have to write the sharp on the line where the note would appear. Then you go to the key of E flat. You start on E flat. This is E flat. This is B flat. This is E flat again. And A is also flatted. It's not written in because it's already in the key signature, and it runs all the way through. Now, before you play a piece of music, what you have to do is look at the key signature and see what the key is. And you will know exactly what it is by just looking at the key signature. You know that there are three flats there. So, and you know what the flats are because they appear on the line that the note appears on, except the octaves, but you know what those octaves are. And you all automatically flat all those notes. The key of A is going to be three sharps. The key of E is going to be four sharps. So these are all of the normal, usual scales that you have when you play. There are more sharps, there are more flats. But what I did was I wrote out the scales that we usually have, the more common ones, simply because I really don't want it to get that complicated. Now, here is a chart of the keyboard. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. I didn't go through all of it because I wanted to make a point. Let me just put this to one side. We already told you that the way to memorize, the easy way to remember the notes in the spaces and the notes in the lines, E is this note right here. and this is where it is on the keyboard. G is this note right here. This is the way it appears on the staff, and this is what it is on the keyboard. And B is right here, the third line up, and that's where it is on the keyboard. D is where this is on the staff, and this is where it is on the keyboard. F is right here, and this is where it is on the keyboard, and this is the note. And remember, for those notes that are on the line, the easy way to remember is every good boy does fine. All right? Every good boy deserves fudge, you can use, or Ernie gives Bert dead frogs, which is what one of the kids told me. So they're sure to remember that. Then on the other lines, F, which is the first space, A, which is the second space, that F is right here on the keyboard. I've color-coded it. The A is right here on the keyboard, and this is where it appears on the staff. The C is right here on the keyboard, and then the E right here. That spells face. So when you're dealing with a treble clef, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. If I want to go further, G, A, B, C. This would be C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So I really have a couple of octaves there. And you can tell this is the easier way to learn it. Now, supposing, and here's my next chart, supposing we have, and I've got 2 or 3 octaves here, starting with C, going up to C, going up to C, so you've got 2 octaves right there, and then I brought it up to an F. These lines, you can write notes above and below the staff. That's not a problem. You just have to write the lines for them. If you drew lines all the way across, it would be the same thing, but you don't do that because it would be so hard to read it, you'd just have a mess of lines. So they just use the short lines for these notes which are above the staff. This is a little above the staff. It has 1 line. B is the space above the staff. C are 2 lines up. D is 2 lines and the space above that. E, there are 3 lines there. And F are 3 lines and the space above. Now, supposing, and we've got it here, I've got it color-coded, every good boy does fine. And I've got this F, A, C, E, and then you can go above and do it in the octaves above. Now, I've already showed you that to learn, the easy way to learn to finger the instruments for the recorders, for the saxophones, for the flutes, B, A, G, F, E, D. Now, where do you find that? B, A, G, F, E, D. So where do you find it on this? Well, you can start right here. B, A, G, F, E, D, going down. And the, right here, B, A, G, F, E, D, the octave below it. So if you use these things, you can tell exactly what you're supposed to be playing, and it's easier to learn notes that way. Now here I just added this chart. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So you have 2 octaves, C to C, C to C. And some people teach children, when they're teaching them to sing, they use like a little scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Those are like syllables. You can use it on any scale. It doesn't matter what scale you start on. And I'll like demonstrate on the keyboard here. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Well, supposing I want to do it starting with G, do, re, mi, whoops, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay? It doesn't matter where you started. Every note has a syllable. And you can just teach children to sing. If they're going up 2 steps, it's mi, do, mi. If they're going up 4 steps, it's do, fa. And it doesn't matter what note they start on or what key that they're in. Now, major keys are all sharps. Minor keys are all flats. And some people really like to sing or play in the key of flats because they think it's easier or they like the quality of music. Then some people like to do sharps because they like the sharps better. In the key, that's a major key. That's minor. That's major. You can kind of see the difference there between the major and the minor. And it is kind of interesting to know that all sounds in nature, when you get like the ocean or a lake where the waves are lapping up on the shore or wind through the trees, all sounds in nature are a minor key. And I don't know how they figured that out, but they've analyzed the tones that the different sounds make. And nature sounds are all minor keys. So, and some people really do like the minor keys. So if I'm going to play, see, I've got a few minutes, I'm going to play that song I just played is just something I made up. Let me play it in a different key. Actually, this still is. Using the same fingerings on a different instrument and thereby changing the key once again. Sometimes if you're playing or singing, you may want to change a key. If I'm playing in an orchestra, a lot of times we may say, well, let's move this up a key, or let's move that down a key, because it'll play better, it'll be easier to sing, or whatever. And there are computer programs that let you do that easily, or you have to do it by hand. Well, this is up a half a step, or it's up an octave plus a half a step, you know, or something like that. It makes it much more complicated if you're doing it by hand, but it certainly can be done, and I've certainly done it. So you can change the key. The only thing you have to watch for if you're changing keys, you have to keep it in the range of what the instruments can do, and if you have people singing with you, you have to do it within the range of what people are able to sing, not pitching it too high, not pitching it too low. Now, the next time I come in, I'm going to be showing you a real quick, easy way of learning the keys and what they are and how they're related to one another. I just don't have the time to complete that today, but we'll do it next time. It'll be a fun and easy way of learning keys. So please join me again.